Hello everybody, tonight I have a little project here to show you. It is a Nintendo Switch dock. I'm not a huge fan of how big this is, so I wanted to make something smaller. The electronics in this guy is all right here. This is what connects your Switch to the TV. So some of the things that I wanted to make sure I could do is make a portable version of it. This thing could fit in your pockets. If you have a little bit bigger pockets, it'll fit just fine. And I wanted to keep the original interface, where it has a little spring and everything, intact. So it does make it a little more ugly. Hardware that you'll need to buy to print this would be the couple of M3 by 18 millimeter. You'll need 4 M3 by 30 millimeter. And for the plastic here, I have this printed out in PETG. All of these, you can print them flat, so you don't need to have supports or anything. When you have this all completed, I use an 1/8 inch drill bit and run it through the back support. You have to print out 2 of them. One goes on the front, one goes on the back. So that back support file, you just drill a hole through here. It has a hole, but you just gotta make it a little bit bigger. Just cleans it up and makes everything slide nice and easy. Also want to do the same on this. This is the top piece. It's got the little bit of venting in it. For the most part, everything just kind of slips into the bottom here. Some things that you're going to want to do once this is printed out is, since this is a tight fit, you'll want to sand on the insides where the circuit board goes. You just want to kind of just pull off all the extra rough edges, like right here. Just take like a razor blade and trim it back. And you take a little bit of sandpaper, and you can sandpaper or one of these little sanding sticks. You sand along the edges here, and then in here you're going to want to also sand a little bit. Tried making it as tight of a fit as possible. So I didn't want to use screws on these couple of parts here, and since you're going to be putting the switch right into this part here, I don't want it to move around much. So I'm going to go through the assembly process just so you can see what needs to be done. It should be straightforward. Everything just kind of clicks in. The disassembly of the switch dock requires a tri-wing screwdriver and a small Phillips. You do have a couple springs that you'll want to take note of when you pull off the bottom part of it, since they are required for this. Get that together. Put a couple screws in just to hold it. Let's see here. So when you're putting these together, you're going to want the little groove towards the inside where the switch will hit or sit. And you'll want these grooves to be on the top side. I guess that's the only real gotcha there. I printed this out of PETG, since PLA eventually kind of breaks down a little bit and the screws don't hold as well. I did have a PLA version of this, but the screws eventually pulled out. I did say 18 millimeter for this. However, you could get away with shorter screws since you're just screwing into the bottom here. It is pretty close to being a little bit too long, but this is what I have on hand. The screws for my local shop, they were about $1.50 to $2. for the screws that you need for this. So hardware-wise, it's not too expensive. Don't have to have everything snapped together. It will last a little bit longer if you screw it together. So that's why I chose to go with screws on this one. That's the whole point of this, is to make it more portable. Usually portable things, either you glue it or screw it together. So, grab a drill. And you just pull it up just nice and tight. Don't want to over tighten it. And that is the completed dock. I'm going to have the files in the description here to print this out. This is my own design, so if you want to have any other modifications to it, let me know. Otherwise, you can modify it yourself. It's not a perfect case, but it's enough to protect everything. If you have any questions, let me know, and have a good night.